Hi there, I thought I would do a. I haven't done a Northern Powerhouse video for a while. So I thought I would do one because a lot has happened within the last 24 hours or so. So, firstly, what has happened is we've had a major development politically. Uh, we've had the potential of a vote of no confidence being discussed and the potential of a unity government. Now, whether you like Corbyn or hate him, he's done something that's kind of something a military general would do. He's literally stacked the odds in his favour, basically because he's now put the Liberal Democrats in a very, very awkward position. So, and this would be a lose-lose for the Liberal Democrats and would allow Labour to become the party of the anti-No Deal, and the Liberal Democrats are now on the back foot. So here's why I think it's a very genius plot that Corbyn is doing. It's very genius. So let's imagine that Corbyn steps in and becomes the hero of Britain and stops Brexit with his coalition that he's leading. Corbyn will get the credit for it. Corbyn will be the hero of Brexit. He'll have stopped the worst case scenario and the scourge of Boris Johnson. Then an election will be called and he will go into this election the all-conquering hero. He will probably have a lot of people grateful that he stepped in to save the day. That's with the Remain side, of course. Brexiteers probably would be hoovering up there would be a massive civil war between the Conservatives and the Brexit Party, thus splitting the vote. Now Labour will probably have to deal with the Liberal Democrats at this point. But let's say for example, the Liberal Democrats disagree and don't want to form a coalition, then they could literally have Brexit and a no-deal Brexit forced onto the country. They will be blamed for this. They will be never forgiven. Labour, however, can turn around and say, well, we tried to stop it, but the Liberal Democrats didn't help. Labour will then be the party that would be there to pick up the pieces. The Conservatives, if the no-deal Brexit happens, and the predicted damage that a lot of people are predicting happens, the Conservatives will never be trusted in government for a long time. And the Liberal Democrats will suddenly find themselves being basically being ushered as the guys that could have done something but didn't, and they will literally have themselves lost a lot of potential Remain voters. They will go to the Labour Party and they will believe that the Liberal Democrats put their party before the needs of the country. Labour, on the other hand, will be able to just say, we tried to stop this, but the Liberal Democrats put a massive roadblock in the way. So either way, Labour could hoover up a lot of disenfranchised Lib Dem voters who believed them when they said they wanted a no-deal Brexit, but suddenly, because they didn't want a certain leader in charge, which, by the way, before anyone criticises me on, is actually legally Jeremy Corbyn's right. As the leader of the opposition, he has the right to form a government. So the Liberal Democrats do not have any sway in saying that we won't want a caretaker Prime Minister who's not Corbyn, because it is, in the case of a vote of no confidence, the leader of the opposition has the opportunity to form a government. If no government can be formed, then a general election is called. So, but this will work. Either of these will work great in Jeremy Corbyn's favour, because he can go into the election as either the conquering hero who saved Britain, or he will be going into the election as the guy that tried to put on the brakes but didn't have the right power to do so. So he could hoover up a lot of Lib Dem seats and votes who feel like the Lib Dems have gone back on their word. So tactically, Corbyn has been very good at this, and it's kind of a very interesting manoeuvre. And whether you hate him or not, you have to admire this is a very good position for Corbyn to suddenly be in. Now, another thing that happened this week, and there's a few things that happened majorly. The sad death of a policeman, and this was tragic. There is no, and the shocking thing is one of the people that were arrested. I don't want to talk primarily about. This is allegedly because the case is ongoing and no one's been convicted, so I have to be careful what I say legally. But the potential is that one of the people arrested was a 13-year-old. That is shocking. If this now a big if this 13-year-old was involved in the crime, it's such a shocking statistic that a child someone who was legally a child committed such a heinous act. It goes to show you that we need to sort our policing out. That guy should not have been in a dangerous position in the first place. He should have had backup to help him. There should have been step up this kid from being in that position where he was able. Either someone should have stepped in and been able to get this kid out of this life before it even started. But that's what happens when you have a right-wing government that blames everyone else but themselves for these things. And speaking of another crime, I've just heard that Owen Jones has been beaten up. Luckily, he's fine. He hasn't sustained any damage. But whether you agree with Owen Jones or disagree, you should not be using your fists. Fight the debate. Fight the argument with words. Get facts, get evidence, get proof that he's wrong. Do not go around with your fists because whether you disagree or agree with them, the moment you use your fists, you've basically lost the argument, and Owen Jones can win. This is why violence never solved any political struggle. This is why, if we take, for example, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, the Anonymous group, they used non-violence. Using non-violence meant that no one could find a way to get rid of them. When the Occupy Wall Street happened, it was a very awkward situation because they weren't breaking the laws. Government had to bring in new laws to stop the Occupy movement because it was such a very organised and very clever campaign. So when you break the law, you are literally destroying your argument. And when you are using violence, you're destroying the argument. Same with threatening people. If you want to use your arguments given to someone like me about why Brexit's bad, at least give me some actual evidence. And what I mean by evidence is actual evidence of facts. Not something that's made up, not stuff that's been debunked, but actual solid evidence that's irrefutable. Because I've seen people claim stuff that's later been disproven. I've seen evidence that a lot of what was claimed has been fraudulently stated. For example, the big red bus lie, that's been proven to be false. The United Army, which has been proven to be wrong. United States of Europe, which is another one that's been proven to be a falsehood. So come up with a better argument than your fist, than threatening. Because people are not going away. In fact, they're going to. The fact that you are threatening violence just makes them more angry, makes them more determined to do what they're doing. And that's the truth. And that is, I think that's where I'm going to end this. You know, and also I'm going to say another thing, and I think this is summed it up perfectly. The downfall of the government is more to do with the NRG, because if you had actually passed Theresa May's deal, then guys like me, guys like Owen Jones, Femi Taylor, all the others, even James O'Brien, we literally would be powerless right now. Brexit would have happened and we couldn't have done anything. But what you did is you blocked a deal which prolonged Brexit, and you are now in a position where you are now literally fighting for survival, and you are putting, you might be putting the death nail into Brexit itself, all because your ideology, because you've tried to push an ideology that could not work. So I'll leave it there and hope you have a good night. Thank you. Bye.